to the Little Reader's Corner. Today I'm talking about big books that I am terrified to start reading. You don't drink out of a cauldron? Let's get going. So these are the books that are just so big that I know that they're a time commitment, but also I've been wanting to read some of these for years, like literal years. Others are recent releases that I've heard really great things about, or the plots just sound really intriguing to me. And I just need to get on it. I need a kick in the butt. So here we are filming this video so y'all can keep me accountable, so I can keep myself accountable, because I really want to read these. And I know when I'm reading them, when it's happening, I will be enjoying them. I will be having a gosh darn good time. But I first need to get there, and this is me getting there. So as a first step, let's talk about 12 books that are over 400 or 500 pages. That's what I constitute as big. That's big for me. Some of these are more around the 800, 900 page range, but you know, all big books. And I really want to read them this year. I don't think I'll be able to read all of them, because realistically speaking, that means I'd have to read maybe one a month. And that sounds terrifying. So maybe I'll read half of them this year. That's what I'm hoping. Maybe I will get a jump start and really get into some of them and read really quickly. But we're not going to hold out for that, because that's scary. That's terrifying. First off, let's start with one where I specifically got a very specific edition because I really wanted to read it. And that's Game of Thrones: A Song of Ice and Fire. This is the first one in the Game of Thrones series. This is the beautiful, gorgeous, fan-freaking-tastic illustrated edition, because it just, oh my goodness. There's a map. There are just the most beautiful pictures every couple pages. And this book overall, let's just double check, is about 900 pages. So I need just a little extra something to get through 900 pages. I know I am almost certain to enjoy this because, oh my gosh, that is beautiful. I'm almost certain to enjoy this because this is exactly the type of genre I am in love with. I specifically haven't finished the series. I'm still on season 4 of the series, because whenever I watch it, I get so giddy and excited, and I don't want the prospect of that feeling to go away. That might not make any sense to people. I know a lot of people, I've tried to explain this to them, and they get really confused. They're like, if it's one of your favorite shows, how can you not finish it? I don't know. I don't want it to end. And I know a way to do that is to start reading these beautiful giant books. But to do that, I know that I can't have a lot of other things going on, otherwise I will feel stressed, and we don't want to feel stressed when we're reading this beautiful big book. So I think I am going to wait for this one specifically until after I graduate, which is in March. It is soon. So after that, I can really dig my teeth into this. I won't feel as pressured by time, but it's just beautiful. If you don't know what Game of Thrones is about, then I'm probably not the best person to explain this to you. I know a lot of people that could do a much better job, but in short, it's kind of medieval fantasy alternate universe world where there are multiple kingdoms. They're all battling for the throne kind of thing. A lot of warfare, a lot of romance, steaminess, a lot of stuff going on. There are dragons at some point. There's kind of like another species of being in a way. It's the best I can explain it, but I really want to read this, and I'm terrified. Okay, next up on my list, I have 2 books in a series. One of my favorite series. I've been meaning to read these next 2 books for quite some time. I have a vlog on the first one, and now without further ado, let me tell you what series that is. And that series is the Daevabad series. It's the City of Brass series. I can't hold these at all. Oh my, okay. Here we go. So it's the City of Brass series, or the Daevabad series, and I have the UK editions, some of my most prized possessions. Look at how beautiful these editions are. I can't even believe I have wanted to own the full set for years. I got all of them, I think, last year. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. But anyways, so I've read the first one twice now because I read it, I think, summer of 2019, and then I also reread it summer of 2020 when I wanted to finish the series. And I wanted to see it started on this one. But in case you weren't aware of the fact of summer of 2020 was a situation, and I specifically had to go back to my apartment in a different state to move all of my stuff into a storage unit because my lease had ended, but I had been staying with my parents during the thing. So that was a time. I was really stressed and anxious, so rereading the first one was an absolute joy. I really loved it because it felt like there was no pressure. But then the second one was like, let's do this, and I was like, I can't handle this. This is way too much emotion. Oh my gosh. But I really want to read it. I'm so excited. I've heard the second one is fantastic. I've heard mixed things about a third one, but we're not there yet. We still have some time to go. So this series takes place in 18th century in the Ottoman Empire. It starts off in Cairo. It's definitely classified as a historical fiction fantasy in a way. There are jinn and spirits, and there are different groups of people in this one city of Daevabad that takes place for most of the book, and it's primarily about the main character Nari, and she's a thief. She accidentally steals the wrong thing at some point, and she gets mixed up in this whole thing. She finds out that she's of a certain family, and then she goes to the city Daevabad and finds out more about herself, and there's also a romance thing going on, so it's a good freaking time. Definitely check it out. But I am terrified to keep reading these books because I don't want them to end. But also, they're so thick. They're so thick. The first one I read very quickly. I read this over a couple of days. This was actually a buddy read, I think, way back when, between me, Liv, Lexi, Kaylin, and Allie, I think. I'm pretty sure it's been like 2 years now, but this was a good time and I loved reading it with them. And I really need to read the other books in this series. And next up on this list is Song of Race and Rowan, and I have this as both an ebook and as an audiobook. So I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm excited. I just need to get started. I even got started at one point, but that's right around when I had a reading slump for 3 months. So I decided to stop reading it because I didn't want to spoil the enjoyment of it by my current state of mind. So I decided to put it off, and I want to get to it this year because I've heard fantastic things. It sounds like a fantastic novel. It looks like a beautiful novel. The audiobook narrator is fantastic. I just need to get going, you see. So it's about two main characters. The first one, Malik, he strikes a deal with a spirit to avenge his sister and kill the crown princess. Pretty sure that's what it was. And it takes place in this war-stricken land. And then the other main character, Karina, wants to resurrect her mother through this ancient magic, and that requires the heart of a king, but I think it still needs to be beating. It still needs to be alive. So I'm pretty sure these two characters will cross paths, and it sounds like they have kind of conflicting motives. Is that what it is? I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's a duology, and I think the second one comes out this year. And I want to be excited about the second one, but I haven't read the first one yet, so I need to read it. And this book is like, I think, almost 500 pages. It's a pretty long audiobook. And I want to read it. I want to read it. I'm saying I want to read it, and then I look at the length of it and I get scared and I go hide under the covers because that is the only safe place from these long, beautiful books. I'm so intimidated, so I really want to get to this one, but I just need to get going, you see. This next book is unlike any others on this list. If I have any fellow political science or international relations majors here, maybe a history major could also be in on this, but this is a book about everything that happened in Europe in the last 100 years in detail, describing all of the conflict. I'm an international relations major. This sounds fascinating to me. It's literally called Postwar, A History of Europe Since 1945. It's 900 pages. I really want to read it. It's recommended reading under the United States Foreign Officer exam. So I really want to read it. And I want to concentrate kind of continent by continent and region by region, starting off with Europe since I'm European and feel like it's a good jumping off point. I really want to read this. I have picked it up in Barnes & Noble every single time I've gone into Barnes & Noble, leafed through it, looked at the things. I have a sample of it on my tablet. I have read through the first 20 pages. It is great. It looks like it's good and like an interesting read. It's just 900 pages. My goodness. And I won't be able to read many other things while I'm reading it, so I really got to figure out what time I want to read this. I think post-graduation is the only real slot of time, but I won't be able to read many other books at the time. If y'all are interested in me talking about some of the international relations books that I want to read for my career, let me know, because I would love to talk to you about them. But I have a feeling most people on BookTube will not be that interested. But if there is even one person out there that wants me to talk about these books, I will gladly talk about these books, because I'm very excited, because I first want to go region by region, but also like topic by topic. So I won't bore you with the details right now, but if anyone is interested, please let me know, because I would be thrilled to talk international relations with someone. Next up, I have The Shadow of What Was Lost, and this is part of the Licanius trilogy. Yeah, you've probably seen these books around. But I got the ebook for this, I think over a year ago at this point. Like, honestly, it's been some time, because it was on sale at Barnes & Noble for like $3. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. I've been intrigued by the summary. I'm interested, I want to read it. And this book is 600 pages. Sounds like a lot. As I mentioned, trilogy, there are 3 books. Heard a lot of really great things. Let me read the summary, because I still don't really understand what it's about. I just know that every time I read the summary, I'm intrigued, and then I forget what it is. Anyone relate? I don't know. Okay, let's do this. It's been 20 years since the end of the war. The dictatorial Argors, once thought of almost as gods, were thrown and wiped out during the conflict, their much feared powers mysteriously failing them. Those who have ruled under them, men and women with a lesser ability known as the Gift, avoided the Argors' fate only by submitting themselves to the rebellion's 4 tenets. A representation of these laws is now written into the flesh of any who use the Gift, forcing those so marked into absolute obedience. As a student of the Gifted, Davian suffers the consequences of a war fought and lost before he was born. Despised by most beyond the school walls, he and those around him are all but prisoners as they attempt to learn control of the Gifted. Worse, as Davian struggles with his powers, he knows that there is further to fall if he cannot pass his final tests. But when Davian discovers he has the ability to wield the forbidden power of the Argors, he sets into motion a chain of events that will change everything. So, sounds fascinating. It sounds like there's kind of a lot of political warfare going on, kind of like a fantasy, historical kind of looking thing. Maybe? I don't know. Mainly just high fantasy. But I am intrigued. I've been wanting to read it for a while. I literally have the book at my fingertips. So what's stopping me? 600 pages is stopping me. Maybe I'll try the audiobook. I might be able to get it from my library. We'll see. I need a little kick in the rump. Maybe I'll do a buddy read with someone. If someone's interested, I might be able to do a buddy read just to get a little kickstart. Sounds like a good time. I've heard amazing things. Let's go. This next book has a little lower page count, but not by much. It's about like 530 pages. It's called The Tiger's Daughter. It sounds so good. And I keep almost buying the ebook because I want to read it. And then I realize, oh wait, I have all of these other giant books on my list as well. That's another problem. I don't know which one to read first. These all sound fantastic and I don't know where to begin. I want to read a large book maybe every month, but as I mentioned before, that sounds like a lot. I wouldn't be able to get through all of these, but it's the end of January already. We've already missed 1 month, so you know, we're working on it, we're getting there. So what I know about this book is it's a sapphic diplomatic war fantasy book. That's what I know. That's what I think it is. That's what I'm pretty sure it is based off of what I've heard from other people, what I see on the Goodreads page. But basically, it's about this one empire that has been conquering all the lands, and there are demons that are preying on villages on the outskirts of that empire, and there's a nomadic empire that's also kind of on the move, and that empire made a treaty with the other empire, and then there are 2 young warriors, I'm guessing one from each empire, seems like what it would be, and I believe both of them have been prophesied to have the power to fight back against the demons. So sounds fantastic, looks like it's sapphic, very excited. 500 pages worth of excitement. I just gotta read it. I just gotta get there, you know? Okay, next up I have one with an even lower page count, so even more obtainable, and I'm about to start a buddy read of this one. So I'm very excited. It's the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I mean, come on, everyone talks about this book. It is the epitome of fantasy reading, and I'm excited. And it's only about 450 something pages, so it is on the lower end of the big books that I'm terrified of, so I think it's obtainable. I'm starting it as a buddy read with Jade from Jade the Reader and Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe. I'm excited, I'm terrified, I really want to read this. Oh my gosh. So as I know, this is kind of talking about the end of the world, and there are 3 perspectives, I'm pretty sure. So let me read the summary so I don't mess this up. This is the way the world ends. 3 terrible things happen in a single day. As soon, a woman living an ordinary life in a small town comes home to find that her husband has brutally murdered their son and kidnapped their daughter. Meanwhile, mighty Sanze, the world-spanning empire whose innovation has been the civilization's bedrock for 1,000 years, collapses as most of its citizens are murdered to serve a madman's vengeance. And worst of all, at the heart of the vast continent known as the Stillness, a great red rift has been torn into the heart of the earth, spewing ash enough to darken the sky for years, or centuries. Now Asun must pursue the wreckage of her family through a deadly dying land without sunlight, clean water, or arable land, and with limited stockpiles of supplies. There will be war all across the Stillness, a battle royale of nations, not for power or territory, but simply for basic resources necessary to get through the long, dark night. Asun doesn't care if the world falls apart around her. She'll break it herself if she must to save her daughter. Sounds epic. Oh my gosh. I've only heard fantastic things about this series. I've been wanting to read it for years. I just always get terrified by these thick books. Next on this list of giant tomes I want to read but I am terrified of is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. I love Christopher Paolini. I love his writing. I'm very excited to read this, especially because I got this for 50% off at Barnes & Noble because it was just randomly 50% off. I was like, okay, you know what? Yes, because this is an adult science fiction, and the price of adult science fiction is astronomical. It is not to be believed. So we got it discounted, and that's what counts. This book is so freakishly long, almost 900 pages. I've heard good things. I've been wanting to read it, but 900 pages. This man has been working on this book for years. I'm excited to read it, but oh my gosh. So as I mentioned, it's science fiction. It's about Kira, who finds an alien relic, and oh my god, there's a child, there's a child, there's a child. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, there's a child's mother. Oh no. Okay, we're good. It's about Kira, who finds this alien relic, and when she finds it, like things start to move, like the alien relic starts to move, and then all of a sudden war breaks out across the entire galaxy. And this is kind of like an alien first contact start kind of story. So now Earth and all of Earth's colonies on, I think, different planets are now on the brink of annihilation, and they're fighting this alien race. And that's kind of all the information I know. It sounds really good. It's Christopher Paolini. The man is a legend, and I'm looking forward to reading this. So want to read this, but like of all of the books on this list, I think I'm the most terrified of this because of how vague the plot is and how long it is. So this might be on my list last because I'm terrified. It doesn't even look that big because the pages are Bible thin pages. I cannot believe. It's just I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Next, I have the Book of Dragons. Now this book might actually be something I can accomplish this year. First off, because Draconathon will be happening this year. We do it once a year. We did it last year for the first time. It's me and Jade. It's a dragon-based readathon, draconic creatures, a good time. And this book I kind of wanted to check out last year, but it had only just come out or was about to come out. It's an anthology, a bunch of different short stories on a bunch of different kinds of dragons written by a bunch of different authors. Sounds fantastic, and I appreciate that it's short stories because that makes it more manageable. Like chapter chunks are kind of difficult to spread over time, I feel like, because you don't want to forget what happened in the chapter before, which is what happens for me if I read a book for a long time. So I think splitting up short stories in an anthology is doable. You can do like one per week. I mean, it depends on how many there are, but you could do a few per week, and I think that's pretty manageable, and I've been meaning to read short stories. So if anything, this book is a possibility. It could happen, but yet again, it's a very thick and very long, but it looks cool, so we want to get there. We want to do this, you know? Next, we have The Time Traveler's Wife. Now, this is the epitome of time travel books. This is a legend. And I have not read it, and I love time travel books. I'm very passionate about time travel books, and I haven't read the classic of time travel literature yet because it's like 700 pages. It's very long, it's dense, a lot of things happen, and especially with time travel stories, I want to be completely in the story because I like to try to figure out what's going on, and I want to try to figure out what will happen in the story. And if I'm distracted, if it's taking me a really long time to read, if I'm not fully invested or I'm multitasking, it's just not gonna happen for me. So I really wanna be in it to win it if and when I start reading this. It is my dream to read this book. I want to know more origins of time travel literature because it's a good time, and it's honestly, I find kind of difficult to find really good time travel books. I have a recommendations video coming out soon with my top 5 time travel series or books that I've read that I think just nail it. But there are other ones that I've tried to read or have checked out, and they are just not it. Like, they completely disregard some known theories of time travel and just don't make sense. Like, even if they're not following a time travel theory, they're just completely off doing their own thing, and none of it makes sense. Like, it doesn't actually logically make sense, and that's the fun part about time travel books. So, you know, I really want to read this. I'm terrified. I'm so scared. So it's on the list. I want to read it. It's just so much, so much. The last book on my list, number 12 of the big books that I'm most terrified to read but want to read in 2021, is The Poppy War. I've been wanting to read this book for so long. Oh my gosh, I just need to commit. I need to do it. This book sounds phenomenal. I've heard so many fantastic reviews about this book. I've been wanting to read it. I want it to happen. I want to do this for myself. And yet, have we gotten there yet? No, we haven't, but we will. We will get there. Now, if you don't know what The Poppy War is about, it's about Rin, and she has aced the Keju, which is basically like this nationwide talent exam kind of thing, and it tests whether or not these talented youths can go into the academies and learn there. You know, it's kind of like a schooling thing. So she is a war orphan, and by passing this exam, she has gotten into this elite military school. So while she's there, she's targeted for her race, her color, her class by other rival classmates that are in her cohort. And while she's there, she actually finds out that she is really adept at this ancient art of shamanism, and it makes her a super lethal and deadly weapon. And while all of this is going on, she also discovers that the long thought dead gods are very much still alive. And this military academy was really involved with the first and second Poppy War, and now I think the third Poppy War is about to start, and that's basically the gist of the story that starts off this plot. I don't want to know too much about what happens after all of that plot setup because I'm really intrigued by this. This sounds fantastic. I love kind of militaristic war fantasies that bring in a lot of interesting things. If you're interested in this book at all, please look up the trigger and content warnings because I heard there are a lot of them. So if you are interested, please look those up because there is a lot there. This is an intense fantasy. I've heard a lot of dark things happen in these books, and if there are certain triggers you have, you can definitely skip certain parts if you still want to read them. That's what I know about that, but when I finally read them, I will definitely share those with you. Those are all of the big, gigantic tomes and books that I really want to read this year, or at least in the close future. I'm terrified of these long books. I'm so scared to get into them, but I really, really want to. They sound fantastic. All of these plots are completely up my alley. They're very much the genres I enjoy, but I've just been neglecting them because I'm so scared to commit to such a large amount of my time and energy, because I know that most of these are very complex fantasy or sci-fi or historical fiction books that I want to be present in. I want to know what's going on. I want to understand the plot and the characters. So it really just, you need to dedicate yourself to it, and that's what scares me. So I think I'm going to start the 5th season with Olivia, Savannah, and Jade sometime next month probably. After that, after March, I will have graduated with a bachelor's degree, so I will have so much more brain space to start some of these larger books. And after that, I really want to commit to one big book a month. That might not sound a lot for people who read a lot or read big books all the time, but for me, that feels like a very large commitment, and I think I can do it. I believe I can do it. I want to do it. So that was my video. If you are interested in any of these large books, or you have large books that you're terrified of but really want to read, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested in hearing that hopefully other people are also scared of committing to such large books. Please tell me I'm not alone. Otherwise, please hit that like button if you enjoyed what you saw here. Hopefully you did. And if you want to see more videos from me, hit that subscribe button and maybe even the bell if you want to be notified for the next videos coming up. I have some really exciting themed vlogs coming up. I have some recommendations, including that time travel recommendation video. So I think you will enjoy those. I hope you find the space to enjoy a little bit of reading today and take some time for yourself. But thank you so much for watching. Bye.